What's going on, everybody? Sloth here. Hope you're having another awesome day. And in this video I'm bringing you the Raider guide. Now if you're all about running into battle with the biggest stacks you can get your hands on, this might just be the guide for you. So just a breakdown of what this video is going to be covering. I'm going to be going over the character's pros, the character's cons. Also I'm going to be going over some of the basic moves that the Raider has, and then some more advanced things that he has in his toolkit towards the end of the video. This video is mostly going to be aimed at the beginner player looking to maybe start the Raider. They haven't tried him before and you want to give him a go, but also please do stay around if you have played the Raider and you're looking to add some things into your arsenal, because there's some tips towards the end you might not know about that I'm going to be sharing with you. So without further ado, let's get into this class's pros. As you're all probably aware if you played against him, the Raider's got really good damage. If he hits you 3 times, you might just be dead. He hits really hard, and he's a really good class because of that. He's kind to beginner players, because all you need to do is land a few hits within a match, and you're gonna be doing alright, because 3 to 4 hits with this guy, especially against a squishy class like the Peacekeeper I'm playing against here, you're gonna be causing them a lot of problems. Next up, we've got his range. The Raider has really strong range. Now his axe can swing and cover quite a lot of surface area in his swings, so if an enemy is dodging towards the direction that the attack's coming from, it might hit them because the duration of the swing covers a large surface area, similar and the same with his unblockable attacks. Next up, you've got his cancels. What I mean by cancels is you can cancel the Raider's heavy attack into his stunning tap ability, which is forward on the stick, A and RB at the same time. And what this will do is this will hit your opponent, does a decent amount of damage as well, but always hit in the center, and it will blur your opponent's vision and they won't be able to tell what direction you're going to be attacking from next. So it's a very effective move to keep your opponent guessing and to keep the pressure on them whilst fighting within the game. You can also cancel the Raider's unblockable ability, which is very good because it's almost a bit of parry bait. If you see a big orange attack coming from the right hand side, you're most likely going to try and parry it because you know you can't block it. Now if you cancel that ability and your opponent has parried, they're going to throw out that heavy attack on a whim, and then you're going to be able to counteract that heavy attack basically, and you're going to be able to cause them a bit of trouble through doing that. Next up, Unblockable Ender that I just spoke about there. Now you can put this Ender on all 3 of the Raider's chains, which makes it very strong. He's got a light chain, he's got a heavy chain, and he's got a hybrid heavy and light chain. So pretty straightforward. Light attack 3 times for light chain, heavy attack 3 times for the heavy chain, heavy attack, light attack, followed by a heavy attack for the versatile chain. Now, if you replace the end of each one of those moves with the unblockable attack, if you want the heavy attack to come out on the light chain, you just press the light attack button twice and then add the heavy in at the end. If you want the end of the heavy chain, heavy twice, and then the unblockable at the end. Same with the mixer. If you go for a heavy attack, light attack, then you put the unblockable in at the end. And why this is so good is if you get your opponent low on stamina, or if you get them in a position where it's tough for them to dodge, you can force them to parry this ability. And if people aren't that good at parrying, or you've maybe just disorientated them, an unblockable move is very strong. It puts a lot of pressure on the opponent, because if you know you can't dodge it, you have to parry it. And if you miss that parry, the way this unblockable ability works is once you have connected with a strike before it, when the unblockable connects, it does a lot more damage than if you do the unblockable on its own. So it's a very strong move and should be utilized at the end of the Raider's combos if you feel it's safe to throw it out there. Let me go over some of the Raider's cons. Now, I've spoke about it a bit earlier, parry bait. Especially his heavy attacks, all come out very slowly, and it's very obvious where he's going to be attacking you from. So if your opponent's good at parrying, you might find yourself in a bit of trouble when you're throwing out heavy attacks on a whim. So try and limit that back. Try not to throw out heavy attacks unless you know it's safe to do so, or make sure you're cancelling a few heavy attacks before you do that, so your opponent doesn't know when exactly you're going to be throwing them out there. It gives you a bit more chance, so they're not going to be parrying you every single time. Next up is his small moveset. Now this might sound a bit strange to you guys, but he doesn't have that many moves. His moveset is quite condensed to what he can do, but it's how you use those moves that make him an effective character, because he can be very strong in the right hands. I've played against a lot of high level Raider players, better than myself, who have utilised a lot of cancels, cancelling his unblockable attack, cancelling into the stunning tap, and you don't know which way the damage is going to be coming from, and it can really frustrate you. Also, they utilise his throws as well, these top players do. You know that the Viking classes all have very strong throws and grabs. The Raider's no different. If he grabs you, he can charge you into a wall or push you off an edge from a real far distance. So it's very, very strong having that throw in your arsenal. Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the bad matchups. Now, I don't want to call it bad matchups in a sense, because I've been criticised in some of my other videos that I've made when I've said that someone is bad to fight against compared to someone else. Now, I just want to put this out there. This is my opinion on who are the bad matchups against this class. Now, I might have been playing against a very strong person playing this character as opposed to someone very weak, and I might have thought they were more difficult than they should have been, if that makes sense. So a lot of this is personal preference, so take this section with a pinch of salt when I say this, but the characters I struggled against the most when playing as the Raider was the Nobushi and the Warlord. The Nobushi purely for the fact of how quick she hits and having greater range than the Raider. It's difficult to parry her abilities because of how quick they're coming in, and you always have to almost lunge in with that stunning tap in order to connect with it, and therefore when you are lunging in, because her attacks are so quick, she can hit you and cancel you out of that stunning tap. So that's why I found Nobushi so difficult. You guys might have found otherwise. Please don't slate me. And then also the Warlord. Now, I found it easy against a lot of Warlords when I was playing, because most of them weren't that great. Having an unblockable ability against the Warlord's fantastic. Same with Conquerors, because they're used to sitting back and blocking all the time. So when they see an unblockable come in, a lot of the times they're not ready to dash because they're not used to it. Now, that's a beginner player Warlord. I came up against a very, very skilled Warlord, and he gave me one hell of a lot of trouble. He was blocking everything I was doing, he was parrying everything I was doing, and he was putting me under a lot of pressure. Now, that might have just been me. I might have been playing against a really, really skilled Warlord, and I might not have been good enough as the Raider. But if you guys found out that these two classes were tough for you as well, please let me know, because they're the ones I had the most trouble with. Now I'm going to be going into the section of the video where I show you the basic moves of the Raider, and then how to use his more advanced moves, for instance his cancels and his cancel into the stunning tap. So, see you in a second, guys. Okay then, guys, let's get into the Raider's moves, so you guys can be claiming as many skulls as you would like. Okay, so to start off, I'm not really going to be going over his chains and how to perform them, because they're pretty straightforward, but what I will be demonstrating is how to combine them with Raider's Fury. So it's pretty straightforward. So as you can see, chop and poke, light attack, light attack, light attack. All you're going to be doing is replacing the last light attack with Raider's Fury, and it's going to look something like this. There we go. Now same with the next combo. All it is wild swinging, RT, RT, RT. So you're just going to replace the last swing with the, there you are, unblockable attack. And last but not least, you have the winding slashes. So it's similar thing. So it's just heavy attack, light attack, into that there. So this move though can be used after you've guard broke someone, anything like that. But if you do guard break them, I do believe you can do it after one. Yeah, you can. So the best thing to do is, if you do get a guard break and you want to use it, try and get one hit in before, because the difference in damage is quite considerable. If you watch this bot's health bar here, if I hit them with the move just like that, you see it takes just about a bar off. But then if I hit them with a move before it, you can see it takes a considerable amount more off their health. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, let me show you how to use the stunning tap from a cancelled attack. So first off, I'll go over how to cancel an ability. So if you hold down heavy attack and don't do anything, you're just going to perform a standard heavy attack. If you perform a heavy attack, once the animation has started, if you press B, you will cancel the animation. And as you can see there, I was about to attack to the top, and then I cancelled it, and now I'm about to attack to the right, I've cancelled it, now I'm about to attack to the left, and I've cancelled it. And that's basically how it looks, but what you can do is cancel it into the stunning tap. The stunning tap is performed by pressing the RS stick forwards, clicking in the dodge button, and then pressing A at the same time. So it's just dodging in a direction whilst pressing RB. Okay, and you can do this to the left and to the right, but it's always going to hit the top. It's always going to hit central. Okay, so if you want to do it into a cancel, all you do is press the button to attack, cancel it, and then press the stunning tap. Now, it might sound a bit overwhelming at first, but it's pretty straightforward once you get it down. So, heavy attack, press B, cancel, into the stunning tap. And then from the stunning tap, you can only get one hit after it that combos. You can't do 2 hits, so if I try and demonstrate here, if I go for a light chain, I can only do the 1 light before the next one comes out. And then same again, if I go for a heavy, I can only do the 1 heavy. You cannot also chain your unblockable off that, you can only get the 1 hit. But it's very useful for if you're struggling to get in against your opponent. If you faint, go for the stunning tap and it confirms some damage. And also the stunning tap does a decent amount of damage itself, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, next up, I'm going to be demonstrating how to cancel the unblockable move itself, which is performed by pressing RB and RT. So if you don't do anything, like I said, you're just going to complete the animation and hit your opponent. But if you press the buttons and then cancel it as soon as possible, you'll cancel the ability relatively quick. But sadly, it does consume a lot of stamina, so I would use this one wisely. Don't throw it out unless really necessary. It's very, very good for if your opponent is on low stamina, so they're not able to dodge. What you can do is you can utilize this unblockable attack, forcing them to parry. They're going to parry because they've got low stamina. It's going to come out very slowly, their heavy attack is. Then you can just simply push them on the floor, and then you can get a maximum amount of confirmed damage. Okay, now my favourite combos to use with the Raider, he hasn't got many actual long chains, shall I say, but he does have a few things that you can combine together. Now, if you do guard break, you can get a heavy attack off it. What I like to do is if you manage to get them relatively low stamina, guard break them, tackle them to the floor, heavy attack, and then into your zone attack to finish it. Now, this works very well on assassins, because the first thing an assassin is going to want to do once they've been taken to the floor is dodge. They're going to want to get away from that incoming damage. So if you manage to take them down, you should always be able to connect with the first attack if you have got stamina. Then the second attack is debatable whether or not you're going to hit it. If you connect with the second attack, they're going to take a little bit of damage, they're going to be stunned a little bit, and then you will usually be able to connect with this. But this is fantastic for if you get them down, they dodge to the left or right, and then you can connect with that unblockable attack, and it will do a ton of damage. I demonstrated earlier in the video against the Peacekeeper. I was absolute, and I managed to get the Peacekeeper from full health basically to 0 just with that combo there alone. So you're never out of the fight with the Raider. Trying to think if there's anything else I can demonstrate to you that is useful and something you should know about. The guard break itself, just some tips in terms of playing the Raider himself. Try and abuse the fact that you have a good grapple. Now, what I mean by that is try and drain your opponent's stamina, because once your opponent's stamina is out as the Raider, you become a lot more dangerous. Because you hit so hard, if you can get them on the floor, just one heavy attack from the Raider compared to a Peacekeeper does a ton of damage. So if you get someone low stamina, take them to the ground as soon as possible, confirm at least one heavy attack on them. Now, they're still not going to regain their stamina fully after this point, so if you manage to guard break them again, you can get another heavy attack. That's basically all of their life. So focus on draining their stamina, and a way to do that is by taking them to the ground. That drains some of their stamina, but if you can get them into a wall, so if you just grapple them and push them into the wall, you can see that their stamina goes slightly. Also, if you do your charge into a knee, that drains the majority of the stamina, and also drains your removes your opponent's ability to see which way you're blocking. Exactly the same as what the stunning tap does. So how you want to play him, try and force your opponent into objects, drain their stamina. Once their stamina is down, utilize the fact that you do a lot of damage, and repeat these heavy combos. Okay, so hopefully this video has been of some use to you guys. Hopefully if you're a beginner player and you're looking to pick up the Raider, you have these tips that can help you out a little bit. And if you're a bit more an advanced player and you didn't know about this, hopefully these have cleared some things up that you might not have already known. If you did know them already, that's perfectly fine. If there's something in this video I've missed out, please let me know. I'd be very interested to know what I've missed, and if I can include it in the video a bit later. But without further ado, guys, have a great day.